Welcome to the Inspire and Learn series. We are TMG Yachts, a multi-award winning dealership in Australia specialising in multi-hulls, power and sail. Join us as our expert team teach you all about anchoring, docking, rigging, sail trim, maintenance and so much more, so you can build confidence in your boat handling ability.
Hello and welcome back to another Inspire and Learn episode. My name is Joe Fox from TMG Yachts, and today we're going to look at some of the trimming techniques used when you are sailing downwind. This is when you are sailing at more than 90 degrees to the wind and the wind is coming from behind you at varying angles. We're going to look at the two standard sails on a Lagoon 42, which is what we're on today. This video does not include a Code Zero or a spinnaker. We will look at that in another video. Today I'm joined by Russell, who's going to help me with some of the trimming while I talk through what's going on with the sails. To start, let's go and have a look at the jib or genoa at the front of the vessel. So when sailing downwind, the opposite of sailing upwind, we want to have the sails eased out as far as we can, but not too far. And there are a couple of signs that we're going to look for to know that the sail is eased out enough, but not too much. Now this does vary depending on the angle you're sailing. You might be doing 100 degrees off the wind, or you might be doing 140, 150 degrees off the wind. The signs for reading the sails are more or less the same all the time. So we're sailing downwind now on about 130 degrees. So the wind is coming, I'm looking forward, the wind is coming over my left shoulder. If 0 degrees is ahead, the wind is 130 degrees round to my left or my port hand side. So the wind is coming from behind us at about 10 knots. That's not a lot, but it's enough to demonstrate how to fly this sail. You'll see the telltales, the blue ribbons either side of the sail that we talked about in a previous video for upwind trim. In the light airs that we're in at the moment, sailing downwind, the apparent wind that we feel is quite significantly less. So the telltales might struggle to fly with the lower wind speed, but there are other ways that we can read the sail. When reading the telltales, sailing downwind, if the telltales on the back edge of the sail are fluttering and not in a linear horizontal position, then the sail needs to be eased out. Conversely, if the telltales on the inside are fluttering, not in a linear motion, it signifies disturbed airflow, then the sail needs to be pulled in. This is very similar to the upwind trim. If the telltales are not working, then we have another way to tell that the sail is set correctly. When sailing downwind, you want the sail to be out or eased as much as we can without the sail flapping or fluttering or luffing. So what I'll do is I'll ask Russell, who's on the helm, to ease the sail, and we'll see what an unhappy sail looks like, because a flappy sail is an unhappy sail. So as Russell eases out, you'll see the jib sheet is extending here. He's going to come quite a long way. And straight away, at the very top of the sail, we can see that it is flapping, it is spilling the wind, it's not working efficiently as a sail. If we ease the sail out enough, we may also get luffing on the front edge of the sail or the luff of the sail. Now this is where the wind actually pushes on the back side of the sail, the downwind sail, because it is definitely eased way too far. So trimming a jib or a genoa downwind, we need the sail to be out as much as we can go without it flapping or luffing on any part of it. So now we've pulled the sail back in to a point where it just stops flapping. That back edge just stops flapping and there's no luffing on the front edge. So that is a really nicely set downwind jib. Let's make our way now to the stern of the boat and look at how we might set up the mainsail to complement the setup that we've talked about here. So the mainsail is really the engine room of the boat, complemented by the jib. So this is where most of our power comes from. And to trim this effectively downwind, we want the boom to be nice and far away from the centerline of the boat. This moves the sail into a more perpendicular angle to the wind, creating better coverage to push the boat downwind. A couple of things to note how we trim on this vessel. So rather than easing off with the main sheet, if we do that, the sail billows out and we lose the top of the sail. Another consequence of easing main sheet only on a catamaran is that the mainsail will come into contact quite hard against the shroud on the leeward side. Now, we've talked about this in another video, but we want to minimize chafing on that, where the sail rubs against the shroud. So So in order to set up the sail well, we pull the main sheet in nice and tight, which you can see at the back there, and we ease the traveller down. The traveller goes all the way across the back of the coach roof, and this allows us to move the mainsail out without having the sail rubbing on the standing rigging further aloft. In an upwind position, the main acts like a wing or an aerofoil, creating a laminar airflow over the sail. In a downwind mode on a cruising cat like this, we're more looking for exposure to the wind. So we're trying to increase the sail area that's exposed to the wind, in turn pushing the boat faster. In stronger winds, we want to capture more of the wind. So we're going to be pulling on the main sheet a little bit tighter. This will help keep the mainsail off the shrouds on the leeward side. In lighter winds, we might want to create a bit more of an opening in the sail to funnel the air out the top of the sail, so we can ease the main sheet a little bit. Because it's a lighter wind, there won't be too much pressure on the shrouds from the sail in any case. Now, if we were to trim this completely wrong, if we were to have the traveller on the centerline and the main sheet tight, you'd feel it. You'd feel that you've got 10 knots of wind now, but we're not going the speed that we should. And that is because the wind is approaching from the stern, running down the sail and then going off the front edge of the sail. It's not hitting the sail and going off the back edge of the sail, which helps to push us forward. It is also important when you're sailing downwind to have the boom away from the centerline of the boat. This massively reduces the chance of an accidental jibe, but that is the last thing you want to happen. So the further the boom is out, the less chance of the sail flicking across the back of the boat at great speed. So the setup that we've got now is fantastic. For longer passages offshore, sailing downwind, in order to prevent an accidental jibe in the middle of the night, if something happens, you could add a preventer. Now this is a line which goes from about this point on the boom down to a cleat or a fixing point on the leeward side of the boat. This will just help to keep the boom in position, especially in lighter winds or if the boat's moving around in a bit of swell. It'll hold the boom in a nice position and prevent it kind of flogging around like this when you are in some swell. We do hope you enjoyed this video on how to trim the sails on a cruising catamaran when sailing downwind. It is a pretty simple task, but it's something that you can make small changes to get a lot of extra speed on the boat, and it's really important to know how to set your sails well. Over the course of a 3-week passage, it can mean the difference between arriving a day later if you get it wrong. My name was Joe Fox from TMG Yachts. We do hope you enjoyed this video. Do like and subscribe, and we can give you updates on when we release more Lagoon or cruising catamaran related content.
Join us in the next episode for more how-to videos so you can build confidence in your catamaran handling ability. See you then!